about the sounds of phantom bells that still rang in the night, about the figure of a nun seen walking the grounds. But Bull was a man of God, educated and rational. He dismissed their superstitions and proceeded with construction. The rectory he built was impressive, a sprawling Victorian mansion with over 20 rooms, numerous chimneys, and long drafty corridors. But from the very beginning, something wasn't right. The workers reported strange occurrences, tools that vanished only to reappear in impossible places, cold spots that no fire could warm, and most disturbing of all, the sound of a woman weeping in empty rooms. The Bull family tried to maintain a normal life in their new home, but the incidents began almost immediately. Henry's daughters were the first to see her, a young woman in a nun's habit, gliding silently along what would become known as the Nun's Walk. They described her face as pale and sorrowful, her eyes fixed on something distant that only she could see. But the nun was just the beginning. The family reported phantom footsteps echoing through empty corridors at all hours. Objects would move on their own, sometimes floating through the air as if carried by invisible hands. Doors would lock and unlock themselves, and lights would appear in windows of unoccupied rooms. One summer evening in 1900, 4 of Bull's daughters were out in the garden when they saw something that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. There in the gathering dusk, a ghostly carriage appeared, drawn by 2 spectral horses. But what made their blood run cold was the revelation that the horses had no heads. The sightings continued year after year, becoming such a regular occurrence that the Bull family began keeping a detailed diary of the phenomena. They noted that the activity seemed to increase around religious holidays, particularly Christmas and Easter. Was this connected to the tragic lovers who died centuries before? When Reverend Bull died in 1892, his son Harry took over the rectory, but by 1927 the house had passed to Reverend Guy Eric Smith and his wife. It was during their tenure that the haunting took an even darker turn. Mrs. Smith was alone in the house one afternoon, organising a seldom-used cupboard, when she made a chilling discovery. Wrapped carefully in brown paper was a human skull. But before she could investigate further, she felt an overwhelming presence behind her. When she turned, there was nothing there, but the temperature had dropped so dramatically that she could see her breath in the air.